Harer Nama Harer Nama Eva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva 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 Gatiranyata.
Hare Krishna. Gopi Manohar Prabhu, welcome. Thank you. Yes, this is all by grace of Shri Guru and Gauranga and Srila Prabhupada that whatever we have been achieving, it is all glories unto them. And regarding this satsang, this is so wonderful. I like to offer, begin with Namaha Shubhadaya Krishna Bhutale Shrimati Sankrishnas Katanam Upadana Kupraman Patmane Gora Desh Vikasarthato Bhakti Vashan Namaha Shubhadaya Krishna Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminitina Stay Saraswata Deve Gaurvani Pachayane Vishesha Shunyadi Paschatta Desizane. Offer my respectful obeisances to all the assembled devotees. Vancha Kalpadaru Pascha Kripasindu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnubhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. We can all together chant Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. You might have noticed that I did it 4 times, and there is a nice pastime regarding this one, Srila Prabhupada's. So in one of the letters, Srila Prabhupada has written that if you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in front of deities 4 or 6 times, there will be all success. So of course, in the spiritual life, we want the spiritual success. So this is how now I take up and then chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right now in front of me is a wonderful picture of our Vrindavan Krishna Balaram. So let us begin. First of all, I like to congratulate all of you for completing 5 years of this Sadhu Sangha, and that is also online. So of course, Gopi Manohar Prabhu has given the brief introduction, and there he mentioned that I'm coming from IT background, and this is how my journey started actually, a connection with Gurudev. Even though I'm in IT, but I did not like IT still, because anyway, that's a different subject matter. But then when I heard my Gurudev doing online preaching using the IT, so then it's like, wow, here is a person who is working, doing the services in ISKCON and utilizing IT instruments, technologies. So that motivated me to continue like connection with Srila Gurudev. And here we have online Sadhu Sangha, and that is also 5 years. So it's a great achievement. Regardless of how many could join at a particular time, those who join at a particular time, occasion, that is all glorious, because there is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Verse 2. It says, Ma seva dwarum ahur vimukte stapodaram yoshita sangi sang. So that verse gives Mahanta se samachitta prasanta vimanyavaha sahrada sadhavoye. That verse gives the importance of sadhu sangha. So there are 2 paths. One is leading to hell and the other is leading to our spiritual world. So if we associate with this sadhu, and this is sadhu sangha online sangha, so if we remain in this association, then we are achieving the final destination, Golok Vrindavan. There is no there is no doubt about this. So I'm very grateful for all of you to invite me here, And a special thanks to Gopi Manohar Prabhu for guiding through the process and inviting, and of course Parabhakti Mataji and Sachin Anand Prabhu and all the devotees who have made this available. Now we begin with our discussion. I consider Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 20 and verses 13. Sorry, yesterday I've been suffering from cold and fever and etc. So please excuse me. I like to share my screen. Let's begin. It's my Teams. We will have about 10 minutes for the question and answer. So if any of you can confirm, please, if you can see the screen now.
Yeah, Prabhu, we can see.
Thank you. So, yes, so we are here on Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't know why my window, it should have displayed. Anyway, it should display my video, but anyway, it's not displaying.
Your video will be very small, Prabhu, yeah, in one corner.
Oh, it's displaying? Okay, for me it's not displaying.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So here we are on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, and Canto 3, the title is The Status Quo. And then we will begin with that understanding what is status quo. And we are on chapter 20, and that is conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. And they are great sages, Maitreya and Vidur. They are great sages. And they are having a discussion. And when they meet, such great devotees meet together, they don't discuss about business. What they discuss? They discuss about the ultimate business, and that is Krishna consciousness. They discuss about Krishna. And that is the motto of their discussions. So here we will have a wonderful conversation. We will witness or hear the wonderful conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. And this particular verse is 13 verse. And 13 verse is discussing about the Swarga or the creation part. It's the beginning of this discussion. So let us begin. Before we go into the actual discussion, we will have a background. I'm not sure whether all of you have the verse open, but I should keep the verse open. Let me share my. Okay. Yes. So this is. Thank you. So this is Canto 3, Chapter 20, verse 13. So I just first like to pronounce and then we will go into that background and etc. So Raja Pradhanan Mahatas Trilingo Deva Choditat Jata Sasarja Bhute Dir Vyad Adini Panchasha. Okay, I go back to. If you can please go through the translation. Yes, as impelled by the destiny of the Jiva, the false ego, which is of three kinds, evolved from the Mahatattva, in which the elements of Rajas predominates. From the ego, in turn, evolve many groups of 5 principles. So basically, this is talking about the creation part, the beginning. So now we go back to our slide. Okay, slideshow is here. So the background, we start with the background. And this background covers pretty much, we will start with the first is understanding of what is status quo. So the status quo, if you search dictionary meaning the word, then it says the existing state of affairs. So it's talking about what is the current situation of proper what is going on. So this is existing state. And how does it apply to us? Because where we are living, right now we are in the material world. So first we are understanding what is this material world. And that is why the canto is status quo, the existence, the beginning of the existence. And then it goes on. And if we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, so Srimad Bhagavatam is like, is correlates with Krishna's transcendental body. all the cantos are related with Krishna's transcendental bodies. All of you must also know this before, but then we can just repeat. This is based on Padma Puran. So how this related is here. So this wonderful, beautiful Krishna is standing. He's playing the flute, and when he plays the flute, what does it mean? He's calling out the gopis. This wonderful full moon night, and the river is flowing, and this is Vrindavan atmosphere. He's calling out gopis, and in that terms, he's calling out all the living entities. He's attracting all of us that let us please come back to me. Please come back to me. He's calling out that. And that coming back is going through these cantos. If we complete this 10, 12 cantos, then we will achieve Krishna. We will have a wonderful association with Krishna. So starting with 2 lotus feet, that is canto 1 and canto 2. Then the thighs, canto 3 and canto 4. And then the arms, 2 wonderful arms, canto 7 and canto 8 or 4. Actually, navel is canto 5. And canto 6 is the chest. And canto 7 and 8 is arms. And canto 9 is this wonderful throat, this part. And canto 10 is his lotus face. So this is how the 10 cantos, and of course 11 and 12 is 11 is about the description of what's happening in the future, and 12 is glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. That covers everything. So but then when we reach Krishna's lotus face, then we achieve everything. And we are so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has given us Krishna. You know, Krishna se toma Krishna dite paro tomara shakati ache ami to kangal Krishna Krishna boli rahitava pache pache. All we have to do is run after Srila Prabhupada and his teachings. Then we will get Krishna. And that teachings is coming through these cantos. So now we go back to 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam. So if we go through the Srimad Bhagavatam in these 10 cantos, then it's talking about the 10 subject matters. Of course, we can go through one by one, but just for the sake of time, I'm just displaying here. It's displaying about the Sarga, the creation, Visarga, secondary creation, Sthanam, planetary systems, Poshanam, that is protection, Uttaha, means creative impetus, Manvantara, so the changing of Manus, the rulers, and Isha Anukatha, so that is the science of God. And that is we have a canto 7 is the science of God. Narasimha pastime is the science of God. If we understand the Narasimha pastime, then it's like we understand God. Like Lord Narasimha showed so much anger for the protection of devotee. He is Prahlad Maharaj. So this is how Krishna, the science of God, Nirodha, the dissolution, and Mukti, liberation, and Ashraya, the ultimate shelter. So Sarga, right now we will be discussing about the beginning of Canto 3, that is Sarga, so creation. And that creation is what? It's the elementary creation, that is the beginning of the creation. So, and the secondary creation is done by Brahmaji. So we will see that later. But now we are back to conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. So Vidura is asking to Maitreya ji about this Sarga, the creation. And also this whole Srimad Bhagavatam is coming from, of course, we go through, for us is Saunaka Rishi, Sutta Goswami, and then in the background is Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami, and then further in the background is Maitreya and Vidura. So this is how the flow is happening in that chapters. So the question will come, why all of a sudden Vidurji, especially in this chapter, is inquiring about this topic? If you see the flow, then you will see that Canto 2 is talking about the creation, Krishna's different incarnations, and here is about creation, Krishna's lotus feet. Everything is there in this canto. This Canto 2 is like a summary of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada has put a lot of efforts in Canto 1 and Canto 2 because Krishna's lotus feet. So if we just read these 2 cantos again and again, then we will understand pretty much all of everything of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is like chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, summary of Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 3 is beginning, is the same topic is going on. But then in chapter 12 and 13, all of a sudden the flow changes when the discussion starts about Kumaras, and then Vara appearance comes, and then this whole thing goes on, like how Vara saves the planet Earth, Hiranyaksh from Hiranyaksh. So then this flow was going on. So now my Vidurji, he is bringing. So the pastimes were discussed until for next 7 chapters until chapter 19, and now Vidurji as a sincere student, because if you see Parikshit Maharaj also, he doesn't break the flow. He will remember what Sukadeva Goswami was saying, and then he will recall, oh, the couple of times before you told this one, so how about this now? So the same way Vidurji is also, and this is what, if we want to achieve proper learning, then we have to remember where the conversation ends, and we can try. So we want to learn all of it when the speaker is speaking. Especially here Vidurji is showing, okay, I heard the pastimes, but now I'm still like, I like to hear what happened to creation. So let's go back to that manifestation part. And that's why Maitreyaji started answering this from text 12 onward. All of you can hear me properly, right? It's not too loud? Or...
Yeah, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Thank you. So now, before we go into that verse 13, we understand the basic or the background of this creation. So there are so many terms used in this verse as well, under the false ego, and then predominant passion, etc. So we understand in terms of the sarga, this verse 12 onwards is talking about the creation. So what are the different terms used in this one, so that it will help us understand how this is happening. So Swarga is creation, the elementary creation. So the beginning, the primary creation. So one word is pradhan. Of course, if you do Google search within our cantos, I mean, if you do the search within our cantos, different times pradhan is described differently. But in general, pradhan is it's the aggregate of all elements. It's like little gross in the sense. So aggregates of all elements, especially the 5 gross elements, 5 subtle elements, and then 4 internal senses, knowledge acquiring, gathering senses, and outward organ, that is physical senses. That all together is described as pradhan, and that is from which everything is like manifesting. So this is described in Canto 3, chapter 26, verses 10 and 11. And then if you see further, then it's like if we understand a little bit more, so pradhan is like a still little subtle, but it's not like the senses we see, these physical senses. It's still subtle. It's unmanifested sum total of all material elements. Unmanifested means for us it's not visible, it's not manifesting in front of our eyes. So this is still a subtle. And if we examine ourselves, we have 3 bodies, and pretty much all of us know from the Bhagavad Gita, we have 3 bodies. We have a spiritual body, that's what we are, the spiritual living being, Satchidananda. And then we have subtle body, so the senses, including the mind and intelligence is there. So we have that subtle body and false ego. And then we have gross body. So this gross body, so when in the sense we leave the body, so then it's a gradual reverse engineering. So first gross body operates, and then subtle body, if we achieve the liberation, then subtle body also goes away. And then finally in pure spiritual state, we go back to spiritual world. So this pradhan is like a subtle state. And there is another definition given in pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, when the cause and effect are not clearly manifested, it's avyakta, we can't differentiate. then the reaction of the total elements does not take place. Like so, the interaction is not taking place completely, and that state is called pradhan. So the flow is coming from that pradhan, mahat tattva, etc. Then what is prakriti? If we want to understand this verse 12 and 13, then some of these terms come. Then also one is the prakriti. So prakriti is what? So it's a manifestation. So now it's manifested when the total material elements are manifested by the interaction of three modes. And what is that three modes? It's sattva gun, rajagun, and tamogun. So here also in this verse is talking about passion, tamogun. Passion, rajagun. Is talking about rajagun. When rajagun is prominent, then the living entity comes in consideration of false ego. So here it's talking about prakriti is now manifested, and that is. But then in a different place, prakriti is like it's the beginning. So sometimes considered as a maya. So we see that we have spiritual. Krishna has two potency. Of course, in one sense is potency, but then how it's manifested it depends. So we have spiritual potency, that is Ahladini Sakti, and then we have material the inferior energy, and that is Maya Devi. So from that perspective, this Prakriti we can refer to that as well, that this is Maya Devi on the top level. But some other places is the manifested. So it becomes a little complicated. But then for now we understand this way. So here, that's exactly what I was talking about. If you refer, if you do some search, and sometimes this is what material nature acts in two different capacities, Maya and Pradhan. So Maya is the beginning, that is the energy. We say that Mahavishnu glance over the material nature. So what is that material nature? That is the Maya Devi. So Pradhan. Now another term comes is Mahat Tattva. So what is Mahat Tattva? So again, this also is described little differently in different places within the Srimad Bhagavatam. But one definition I found is that here Mahat Tattva is that consciousness, that the beginning when the Mahavishnu glances, and that subtle part is that called Mahat Tattva, from where everything is manifested. So this is simply by the glance of Mahavishnu onto Maya. See here. So this time Maya is described as the original Devi, the inferior energy, or the Maya Devi. Consciousness is created. What is that consciousness? And that consciousness is material consciousness, because now we are coming into the existence as a manifested form, and that is the material world. And this is why it's called Mahat Tattva. So that transition is taking place from the spiritual world to material world, but in between we have this Prakriti, Mahat Tattva, and Pradhan, and that is very subtle way. So in the beginning sometimes says it's a Mahat Tattva, and sometimes says Prakriti, but from that perspective it's the same. It's very subtle. So here is described again. For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansions assume three Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy known as Mahat Tattva. The second, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, enters into all universes to create diversities in each of them. So this verse 12 and 13 is talking about this beginning. So how this is manifesting. So as it says, by the destiny of the conditioned soul. So what is the destiny of conditioned soul? So if the conditioned soul is coming into the material creation for first time, then he may have that subtle desire of enjoying separately from Krishna. So according to that desire, the manifestation will happen for that living entity, whether he will become Brahma. Sometimes it says all the living entities, when they fall first time, they all become Brahma. And then gradually they degrade themselves, they go down. But if the living entities, let's say it's because of the partial and they haven't purified yet, so then manifestation is dissolved, and now its manifestation is again happening. So then destiny of that jiva, that is desire, subtle desire, and the reaction according to the reactions, the false ego, and that's the word he's talking about. So for that to happen, what Mahavishnu has to create is Mahavishnu has to create that energy, that the place where things can happen. And that Mahavishnu does this by glancing over that energy, that is Maya Devi, the inferior energy. He glances. And what is that glance? It's like agitation. And of course, that glance is described in Canto 3 as a Sambhu. And then this energy as Durga. But then we are talking about the original, the first Maya Devi. So, and then it goes on the subtle, it goes on the lower level, that is within the universe. And then within the universe we have Brahmaji, and then from Brahmaji, like we have different manifestation of living entities, 8,400,000 species. So this one is sometimes described as a like a spiritual sky is there, and then some portion of the spiritual sky becomes the material sky, in the sense that because for Krishna everything is spiritual, but then for us, just like we have a jail for the country, jail is also a part of the country. And for citizen, we have two kinds of citizen. One is free citizen, and the other one is the not free citizen, the what do you call, the persons who are supposed to go into the jail. So for a free citizen, jail is different in the sense, even though it's part of the country, but they don't go there. But then if the free citizen commits some mistake, or not mistake, but some crime, then what happens? They are sent to that part. So similarly, for Krishna, everything is spiritual. All the part and parcel are also spiritual. Like we are also spiritual. Even Krishna's energy is spiritual. It is just a way it's being used. Just like electricity is coming, you can use it for a heater, or you can use it for a cold, AC. It depends on the use. Similarly, for Krishna, everything is like there is no difference. But it depends on, now some living entities like us, we have chosen that now we want to enjoy. So for that, Krishna has facilitates that desire. And to do that, the beginning is Mahavishnu, that Krishna expands himself as Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu means the first Vishnu. It's like a beginning of the creation. So Krishna expands, and that Mahavishnu glances over the material nature, the material energy, and then he creates. And that is sometimes described as Mahat Tattva. Mahat is great. Tattva means the elements, or the place from where everything is coming. So in this today's verse, it's also describing the same. And now after that Mahat Tattva is created, so what happens then is now the desire, the living entities, different living entities have to be manifested. So then that manifestation happens through the false ego. So the layers of subtle elements are created. So this is like a very subtle elements. So the pure spiritual soul is there, but now he has to act in a false ego way. He has to, because if he remembers, or if he assumes his real ego, he can't function. He can't do the sense enjoyment. So then the false layer or false ego is given to him. That is very subtle layer, and that is false ego. And then what happens? That false ego, what? There is a passion. The predominance is rajas, because in the spiritual world, everything is going in a Suddha Sattva. But when the living entity, particular living entity, desires that I want to enjoy separately, why Krishna is getting all the butter, I want to have my own butter. Let everyone feeds me that butter. So then that, you see, that beginning is the passion. So that passion now has to manifest it through the Mahat Tattva. So then the subtle layer is created, that is false ego, and then the three modes, predominant is passion, and then the the elements, the subtle elements, that is tongue mantras, and is described in the verse, five working and then knowledge acquiring senses, and then also mind, intelligence, and the subtle elements, that is touch, sound, etc., have been created. So sometimes says four groups of five or five groups of five. So either way, but these elements are created. It's like a first, and then these elements, if you see the next verse, that is the 14, then these elements are like all together, they are sitting there. Now each universe is created. So then some portion of these elements come and is given into that universe, and then that universe is done is as a layer. So first layer is 10 times like false ego, and then gradually it becomes like water, earth, air, fire, and finally that living entity is put into this universe, and that is the first beginning of that Brahmaji. So then Lord Vishnu, he goes into that universe, and then he creates that universe using those elements which were created by Mahavishnu. And so then the layers happen, 8 layers, 10 times thicker. And then finally, after many millions of years, Mahavishnu desires, okay, now this is the best time to bring out the living entity. So then from his navel, sorry, not Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, from his navel, the lotus stem comes out, lotus sprouts, and then first living entity, Brahmaji, comes. And that Brahmaji, the first living entity, he considers, Atato Brahmaji, who am I? What's the purpose of my life? Why I being given this existence? And then Lord Vishnu or Krishna, he gives the knowledge. Then he gives the knowledge. Okay, oh, this is my desire. This was my desire. Okay, now I fulfill that desire, and that is creative impetus. So if we see chapter 5, Canto 5, creative impetus. So then the whole creation, it takes place, and then planetary systems, and then okay, I'm not alone. Now I have to support Vishnu creating this universe, because now it's not just me, but there are so many living entities. They also want to enjoy. I wanted to enjoy very great, like I wanted to become a king of the whole universe. So I been given a post of Brahmaji, but some other living entity wanted to enjoy maybe something like a stool. Okay, so then it's given a stool eater body, that is hog. So then Brahmaji understands that, okay, now I utilize all these elements given by Mahavishnu, and then I create this subtle body, subtle and gross body. So then he starts creating these bodies, that is 8,400,000 species. And this is how this whole creation takes place. So Swarga, so right now we are discussing Swarga, and Brahmaji's creation within the universe is called Visarga, secondary creation. So okay, it's the same thing. Casual ocean is created. It's the Mahatattva. That is the and Viraja river. Sometimes we refer as a Viraja river. This is also collaborated with chapter 9, verse 7. And also the Mahatattva is total cause of total cosmic manifestation. So that it's the same, but it's given in a different ways. It's presented in a different way. Sometimes like you refer as a Brahman, and that is coming in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 3rd verse. And Srimad Bhagavatam is referred as a Canto 1, chapter 2, verse 33. So basically, Mahatattva is a great tattva from which everything is manifestation. It's very subtle, very subtle. So far, if any question, is anything not clear?
No, Prabhuji. Others,
Okay.
how about others? They want to ask something. They have some doubt.
We will have a question answer after some time. It's just so far
okay.
all these points. If anything is not clear, then so now next is again this is Mahatattva. See here, Mahatattva is described as Pradhan as well. So sometimes it depends. That is why we have to like very thoroughly understand and like put some efforts. But basically, it's like from which everything is coming out, and in a very subtle way. We can't comprehend fully, but we try to do as much as we can. And now, in terms of today's verse, so today's verse is we go back to the previous verse. So previous verse is the beginning of Mahatattva. Like it's the Prabhu, if you can share your screen, we can go through the verse 12. Yeah, translation. Okay, thank you. Maitreya said, when the equilibrium of the combination of three modes of nature was agitated by the unseen activity of the living entity, by Mahavishnu, and by the force of time, the total material elements were produced. So basically, he's talking about the Mahat Tattva. Total equilibrium, three modes. Basically, it's unseen activity. What is unseen activity? Karma. Karma is not seen. You can see the reaction of the karmas, like something happens, like we do something, the reaction, but then karma is unseen, it's very subtle, that it will manifest in future. So that is destiny. And he says by Mahavishnu, material nature. So basically he's talking about the Mahatattva. If we now let us go back to my screen sharing. Screen sharing. Okay, here. Okay, so verse 12 is explaining about Mahatattva, Lord Vishnu's glance into material desires of conditioned souls. So Lord Vishnu, he glances over. So that is the beginning. You know, the Big Bang, they say Big Bang, but this is not Big Bang. This is that Big Bang is talking about just one universe. This is the total creation, total manifestation of material energy, like material cosmic manifestation, within which there are millions and billions of universes are there. So this is Mahavishnu is that great, that much powerful is there. Now consider about Krishna. What is Krishna's potency? Because Mahavishnu is just a plenary expansion of Krishna. It's like plenary expansion, because Krishna, Balaramji, then Sankarshan, Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, then again expansion, Sankarshan, then finally comes Mahavishnu. So think about Krishna's potency. But that same Krishna, he acts and not acts. He actually lives as if he's just a normal person. In Vrindavan, he doesn't show his opulences. Otherwise, he's so powerful. But only thing in Vrindavan is love. And this is why Brahmaji, after Brahma Vimohan Leela, Brahmaji got bewildered. In the Brahma Vimohan Leela, Brahmaji got bewildered. How come you have so much potency? You showed me who you are. You have created all these universes, and how come these Vrindavan Vasis, they don't realize or they didn't recognize this your potency? They act as if you are just a friend. They steal your butter, you feed them butter, you play with monkeys. How come? And Krishna says, yes, in Vrindavan, the only opulence is love, selfless love between him and Vrindavan Vasis. So think about that, and that is the purpose of understanding this creation, that we understand the original position of Krishna. How Krishna, like why Maitreya and Vidura, why Vidurji has to inquire about these topics. The point of this inquiry is to understand the position of Krishna and us. We as insignificant in terms of Krishna. Its only significance is if we love Krishna, if we start loving Krishna. that is the only significance we have in our life. Otherwise, Krishna through this creation is showing us that how tiny we are. We are so tiny. This whole, if we imagine, maybe in future we will have the video, but consider this Mahat Tattva Pradhan, and then whole creation, the 14 planet systems, etc. How complicated it is. There is a nice video, maybe I will share with later with Muli Manohar Prabhu. It's a nice video. It's a cosmic view. Maybe you must have seen. It's like going above and going deeper as well. And this is why this verse is important to understand, that we are very insignificant. We have these material desires, and this, to fulfill these material desires, Krishna has done so much work for us. So much work for us. So verse 12 is talking about Mahatattva, when the equilibrium of three modes, that is Pradhan. Basically, sometimes the three modes, within that three modes, like the elements, the three modes are there, then the whole combination is described as Pradhan. Was agitated by inexplicable karmas of the jivas by Mahavishnu. So karmas, as soon as we desire away from Krishna, that is our karma. By time, and the Mahatattva arose. So this is the beginning. And then now we are going little further, one step further. So then agitation happened. Now through that agitation, what happened? So now this 13th verse, so that elements were created through Mahatattva, through Ahankar. So first was Mahatattva, agitation was there. Then individual living entities, Ahankar, as in the total sum of Ahankar, all the living entities Ahankar combined. The false layer was given, created. And then through that, the 5 gross elements, 5 tanmantras, 5 action senses, 5 knowledge senses, and they are controlling devatas. So this is the 5th group of 5. Sometimes the controlling devatas. And this is why sometimes if you read Bhagavatam, it describes that, to control the water, this deity was created. And that deity is different than the Varuna we refer within the material, one universe. So this is the total, like top level. And from top level we go into individual universe. In individual universe also we have these elements and the controlling deities. So the same thing is repeated twice. So and this is how it happens, and that's why the material universes come out from the pores of Mahavishnu. So each universe is coming out. So what is that coming out? So the layers have been created, and then one universe comes out, and within that Krishna also expands, like he goes in. So now this Mahatattva is also described differently. Mahatattva, or shadow of pure consciousness, is the germinating place of all creation. It is pure goodness with the slight addition of the material mode of passion, and therefore the activity is generated from this point. And this is what this verse is. So 12 was talking about Mahatattva, and now in that Mahatattva, slight passion is added, and that slight passion is added. So then that is, we had a pure consciousness, but now we had developed that desire, the passion to do something away from Krishna. So that passion, slight passion was created. So then now this creation will take place for us individually and also collectively. So collectively is the top layer, and individually is within the universe. So we come into particular universe in particular situation, and that is Sthanam. And then Krishna handles us in a different way according to our desires, according to our whatever karma, reactions, etc. And that is Poshanam. So Sthanam, Poshanam. Then finally we understand the science of God. We understand about Krishna, Krishnanukatha. And then what happens? Krishna gives the liberation. And that liberation, mukti, is within the material we will feel not part of
the material world. We will feel like, oh, now I am transcendental to this material matar spasha sukhante. So I am above this ups and downs. I'm satisfied with Krishna consciousness. And then what will happen? Ultimately, we will achieve final shelter of Krishna. So that means we will go back home, back to Godhead. And that is the Canto 10. So this is how it is. And now in terms of the visual effect, we see is through here. So if you see, and this is courtesy of one devotee, it's online. I think name is given now, Gauranga Sundara Prabhu from Mumbai. I come across on website. Unfortunately, I cannot zoom it, but I will send a link later of that particular website. So this is how, see here, the Mahavishnu is here. Can you see my arrow?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. An individual person can pinch and zoom their screen so they can see.
Oh, I see. Okay, very good. Thank you. So here, see Mahavishnu is glancing over, and this is Mahatata. So this is the Devi. So we refer her as Maya Devi or Durga Devi, the like the top level. Top level. Not, we are not referring to like what do you call? Sometimes refer as the Parvati or Durga Devi, but regardless, to top Devi, that is Maya, the inferior energy, Krishna's back. So then Krishna glances over, and then what is that glance? So that means glance is that agitation, that the living entities desire that through that glance, Sambhu, the creation takes place. So Mahatattva and then individual living entities has to be go through the ahankar. So the layer of ahankar, false ego, false identity has been added. So somebody will feel that now I'm Brahma, somebody will feel I'm IT person, master degree. You know, that ahankar is been added. And within that, then we have Sattva gun, Rajas gun and Tamo gun within that. And then within that, according to that, we will get a location, whether it's if we have prominent of Sattva gun, then we will go to heavenly planets. If we have prominent of passion and ignorance, then we have middle planets. And then if we have more in passion, ignorance, tamagu, then we will go to these lower planetary systems, the Atala, Vitala, Sutala, the hellish planets. And if someone is even more degraded, then they go to the different 28 hells. And if someone is even more degraded, like the soul, conditioned soul, then there is a special, here is not zoomable, but there is a special place, Andakupa, is near towards the end of the universe. There is a special place. This is not a hell, but it's worse than hell. So from there, and it's hardly someone comes out. Of course, maybe some devotees go there to get out the to bring out this conditioned soul. But it's like, it's in Bhagavatam it says that hardly anyone comes out from there if someone goes there. It's a special place, just like I think Andaman Nicobar or some place where during that time, India's independence time, the prisoners were sent to there. So it's hardly come out from there. In Russia, it's like a Serbia. They sent there, and that's about it. Cold people will die in cold. They just freely send them, and that's about it. They don't care that they will be locked up. No, just depot there, and that's it. Minus 75, people will die. Similarly, there is a place. So this is what this verse is talking about. It's just the beginning of this creation, and gradually in a next verse, 14 is talking about the eggshell, the shining egg. That is talking about one universe. So we have so many this universes. See here, this is a shining egg. So then, because Mahavishnu created these elements, now Brahmaji will start using these elements within the 14 planet system. So then these elements cover. So here is Mahatattva. Then again the same layer is created. water, earth, false ego, etc. And then this Brahmaji comes out and then he starts creating. So up to Swargaloka, there is a reaction. Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. There is it's transcender, it's little transcender. It's not completely transcender, but it's more towards Suddha Sattva. And that is why Brahmaji is like topmost living entity in almost pure consciousness. But yeah, this is how we come to the conclusion of our today's verse. If anyone has any question on this,